Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. This is Will from Dova Builds, and today I'm going to be sharing one last character build before the end of the year. This is Uncle Sweetshare. This holiday season may be over, but unfortunately for the citizens of Tamriel, Uncle Sweetshare is here to stay. A master of ice magic and the ability to seemingly disappear at will makes this mage fierce in battle, and with his ability to put pocket items without fear of being caught, he can provide treats for all the good girls and boys of Skyrim. Now let's talk about race, standing stone, and stat spread. For race, you want to go with Nord. The only reason for this being Uncle Sweetshare and Morrowind was a Nord. So, you can really be any race that you want to be and make this character work. But Nord fits the aesthetic best, and of course that's what the original character was, so that's what I went ahead and went with. For stat spread, you're going to want to take straight 50-50 with health and magicka till the point that you hit 300 magicka. Then after that point, just go ahead and dump the rest of your points into health. The standing stone for this build that I suggest going for is the Lord Stone. It will provide physical and magical damage protection, and that's pretty much all you're going to need for this build as far as standing stones go. I would suggest going for the Atronach Stone if we weren't using Conjuration, but since we're using Conjuration to conjure Atronachs, the Atronach Stone will cause us to mess up casting sometimes, and it'll like absorb our own spell. It's not a good idea to go for that stone. So yeah, I just suggest going for the Lord Stone. Now let's go ahead and talk about backstory and lore. There's not much lore or backstory behind this build due to the character being from another game in the series. Uncle Sweetshare first appeared in the Elder Scrolls III Morrowind in one of the DLC packs, and he is essentially Tamriel's version of Santa Claus. He would attempt to make treats to give to those who he deemed nice. However, he used a lot of odd ingredients such as moon sugar and skooma, which are somewhat of drugs in the Elder Scrolls franchise. Some people ended up getting killed, and it was up to the player character to go ahead and put an end to the whole situation. You're probably going to want to roleplay that maybe you're a crazed mage who believes that you're the real Uncle Sweetshare, or at least that's what I did playing the character. So if any of your role-playing choices reflect that, then that would be perfectly fine. So, you know, if, like, for example, if you wanted to join the Dark Brotherhood, I could see that being a thing this character would do. However, if you don't want to join it, I can also see that being a thing this character would do. Speaking of factions, I just want to go ahead and mention the factions really quick. It's really simple. You're just going to want to complete the main quest in order to unlock the Dragon Wrench out, and then the Dragonborn DLC in an attempt to stop Mirror. You also want to try to get as many Black Book powers as you can, and additionally, I suggest joining the College of Winterhold in order to train Destruction and Restoration magic. Another little faction that I would join is the Thieves Guild. However, I don't suggest completing their quest line, just because it takes a really long time to complete, and quite frankly, you don't need to complete it, so there's not really a point in doing so. Alright, so let's go ahead and talk about spells for this build. For this build, you're going to rely heavily on ice-based spells such as Frost Cloak, Icy Spear, and Icy Storm. You're going to want to use Conjure Frost Atronach and Conjuration in order to get 2 Snowmen to help you in battle, Dragonhide in order to protect yourself from physical damage, and finally, Close Wounds from Restoration to heal yourself up after you take large amounts of damage. Going ahead and talk about shouts now. There's only 2 shouts that I really recommend and that I think fits this character. One being Frost Breath, augmented by the Dragonborn Frost ability from one of the Black Books, and the other being Dragon Rend. And that's just a necessary shout to keep dragons on the ground so that you can just basically infinitely cast spells and stun lock, because when they fly away it's just harder to hit. So Dragon Rend helps out quite a bit with that. I'm sure that you've noticed this already, but as a frost-based mage character, you're not going to be doing a whole lot of damage at once. So you're mainly relying on staggering enemies and keeping them stun-locked using the impact perk. But that's difficult to do when there's multiple enemies. So that's kind of why I decided to go with 2 Frost Atronachs and a follower. That way you can basically just keep all of the enemies distracted while you cast spells at them relentlessly. I can't tell you how many times that I was playing this character and I run across a group of bandits and I just got one shot killed by an arrow. The best way to avoid doing that is just to cast the Frost Atronach at the archers and let them deal with that while you're taking out some of the other guys. Same thing for larger enemies as well, like dragons or anything like that. Just go ahead and cast your Frost Atronachs and they'll distract it while you can sneak around and just start blasting it with Icy Spear. So yeah, that's basically the entire playstyle. Maybe you'll want to cast Frost Cloak and Dragon Hide before you go into battle, and that would be about it on combat. For followers, I found it pretty funny to go ahead and use elves as followers. So you can really use anyone, but I decided to go for mostly just elves. In this video, you will see me using Lydia a little bit, but I didn't use her very long. I went ahead and went to Solstheim and grabbed the dual-wield Dark Elf in the inn at Solstheim. And he's a pretty good little follower, so that's what I decided to go with. Alright, so I wanted to go ahead and take a minute to talk about these Creation Club items that I'm using. I'm using the Satriola Holiday Pack, and that comes with your clothes and your reindeer mount, so that's pretty much essential. I believe that it's free right now on the Bethesda store, but it's not going to be for very long, so I'll go ahead and grab that while you can. And another Creation Club item that I'm using is the Nordic Jewelry. However, I do want to stress that I do not suggest purchasing this. The price is just way too steep for how little of, basically how little the creation is and how little that you gain from it. It's just too steep. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, so I'm going to go over the gear for the character really quick. Off the bat, we're going to go ahead and take a look at some gear that I made for pickpocketing and restoration spells. I just went ahead and gave them the name Gifting, and basically I just made an amulet, boots, gloves, and a ring, and that's just so I can sneak around better and use the pickpocketing to give people treats and that sort of thing. You're also going to want to go ahead and make some workshop stuff. Basically what this is your potion making gear. So you got a necklace with that, some gloves, a hat, and a ring. It can be anything really, but I tried to stick pretty closely to the Santa feel for this stuff. And then finally, you're going to want to go ahead and make your actual gear for just combat and just wearing around in general. That's going to be a full set of gear that's fortified with, that's enchanted, I mean, with fortified destruction, alteration, fire and frost resistance, more destruction and alteration. I actually went ahead and put lockpicking on these gloves here, and magicka to give me more magicka to cast spells. Again, you're going to want some more fortified destruction and alteration, and even more fortified destruction and alteration. And that basically allows you to infinitely cast destruction and alteration spells. Moving on to potions, I'll go ahead and show you. You're going to want potions of restore health and magicka, of course, but the main potion for this build here is going to be this puppy right here, a fortified destruction potion. What this is going to do is going to allow you to increase the damage from your destruction spells, which is something that you really can't do otherwise. So what I want to do now is go ahead and go over the skills and perks for this build. We're going to start off with Conjuration. You're going to want to take Novice Conjuration, take 1 rank of Summoner, Atromancy, Elemental Potency, and then Twin Souls. And that's going to allow you to basically cast 2 Frost Atronachs to help you out in battle. Also, you're going to want to go ahead and go up to Adept Conjuration on this side of the tree. Alright, moving on, you also want to use Destruction Magic to do damage, and you're just going to want to take Novice Destruction, Dual Casting, Impact, and then Augmented Frost, 2 of 2, and Deep Freeze. And that's all you'll need in Destruction. You're also going to want to use Restoration to heal yourself up quite a bit. I went ahead and took Novice Restoration, Apprentice Restoration, Adept Restoration, and Expert Restoration. Then I also took Restoration Dual Casting and Regeneration. Alright, then you're going to want to go ahead and use Alteration. This is mostly for flesh spells and also for magic resistance. I don't have all of the spells that I would all of the perks that I would recommend for this, but I'll just go ahead and go over them anyway. Novice Alteration, Alteration Dual Casting, Apprentice Alteration, and that's as far up as the tree in the middle that you should really go. Maybe get Stability, but just don't go up any higher than Apprentice unless you want to go ahead and grab Stability. But you're going to want Mage Armor, 3 of 3, and then you're also going to want Magic Resistance, 3 of 3. And the reason for that is you basically have 0 defense with this build, so any sort of magic resistance or any sort of physical resistance that you can get, you're going to want to go ahead and take. I also legendaried Alteration to get a couple perks. I basically just used the telekinesis glitch to level up Alteration, and that's how I got a lot of the perks for enchanting, because at that point, by the time I had finished leveling enchanting, it was pretty late in the game. Alright, so enchanting. For this, just go ahead and take Enchanter, go straight up the middle, all the way until extra effect. And that's really it with enchanting. Alright, so this is where my build might differ a little bit from some other people's Uncle Sweetshare builds. So I went ahead and took Stealth 5 of 5, which is normal for these types of builds. I took muffled movement, I took light foot, silent roll, silence, and shadow warrior. And to be completely honest with you, shadow warrior was a waste of a perk for this build. I do not recommend this perk whatsoever for this build. Alright, I also went ahead and I took some perk points in pickpocket. I know that I didn't need to, but I just felt like it would fit the character pretty good, so I went ahead and took 4 of 5 in light fingers. Then I also took night thief to visit people while they're sleeping. If you really wanted to, I don't think that you would need to, but you could also go up and take cut purse. But yeah, I don't really think that you would need to. And then finally, we went ahead and done our 5 ranks of alchemist, physician, and benefactor in alchemy. So that's going to be it for the perks and skills for this build. I hope you enjoyed this build, and if you did, please like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace out.